almost to the first trail system here, and yeah, carrying on my backpack from Eberly stock, doing a little ruck today, and I'm really looking for the shades of what I'm doing. How are you guys doing out there? Let me know if you can see the live stream and you can hear me okay. I'm using the DJI mic today, which who knows if we'll be able to buy that next year or even in 30 days, considering what's happening. Whew, it is definitely a hot one out here. All right, I am also trying out Streamlabs app. So again, let me know if you can hear us. Somebody put something in the chat. I want to see if it shows up on the screen or not and make sure the chat's working as well before we get into this, because I'm going to talk about some new news that came out in the last couple days, and we're going to go over what's to come with DJI and kind of like what my opinion is going to be on this. So it is definitely a situation that we're in as drone pilots. Brought plenty of water on this ruck. I got a pretty well fully loaded out pack on my back. This is good testing for this today because it's freaking super hot, and I'm hoping those air cells in the back are going to keep my sweat down. Trying to keep up a pretty good pace. Let me know where you're tuning in from today, where you're coming up from. And again, I'm streaming on Streamlabs, so I'm just trying to figure out this app a little bit here. So let's see if I can find the chat. All right, it does have the chat grayed out, which kind of sucks. So how are you supposed to stream? How are you supposed to do a live stream with no chat up in the window? I was gonna use the app from YouTube, and the app from YouTube wasn't allowing me to select the scheduled stream that I had scheduled for 3:15 today. So the only one that would let me do it was Streamlabs, but I didn't have to pay for it. So maybe I have to pay for it to be able to see what the hell you guys are saying in the chat. Streamlabs. But otherwise, I am definitely getting some, holy crap, I thought I saw needle stuff on the ground back there. We are outside Portland, so I would not be surprised. Whew, it is definitely a hot one, but I'm headed for the shade. And if we need to, what I will do before I really get started in this is, even if I have to restart the stream and we'll just dive into being able to chat together in real time about what this document says. I'm going to share some of the SEC filing that they're going over right now to start with the 30-day. So DJI now has 30 days. So folks that dropped out of the stream, too bad for you, because you might not know. DJI had 5 months, remember we were talking about on the news recently, and now we're down to 30-day investigation, and they're going through what might be a possible national security risk. And if DJI is deemed so, they will be having some probably more tariffs, number one. And I have this piece of paper right here that's wanted to go over the specifics of this national security investigation with you concerning DJI and Autel. Okay, so I mean, this is the thing. DJI was pushing for this, right? They were actively pursuing trying to be able to get this investigation going, right? So this is what they wanted, right? And I've been flying and enjoying DJI stuff on my channel for, holy crap, 11 years. And in a way, it's kind of like this weird kind of separation that's happening, because their stuff is awesome, like no doubt. Their systems are superior to many other FPV, commercially available FPV systems, and the ones that we use to enjoy the hobby. So having to, I think, not be able to go cold turkey, not have any DJI stuff in the future is going to be something that we're going to have to get used to. And one of the reasons that I have you here today too is to really get into talking about being aware of that ahead of time. And that's why I've been prepping you guys for kind of what's to come, because it does seem to be the sort of fearful consensus in DC, right? So if there's this is the way that we always get new regulations or laws passed through Congress very quickly, almost like overnight type of session, to where people don't even know that this thing went through. You don't have a whole lot to say about it. I think there is, I'm going to share a link with you later about a comment window. There is supposed to be this 30-day comment window for the U.S. Commerce Department. But here's the thing, like, there was the same type of comment window open during the last remote ID regulation. That was shared. Tons of people went on there and said that they didn't want it. We recently did a poll on the channel asking if you guys thought that remote ID was successful, and I think over 90% of you guys said no, you didn't think it was successful. And so this kind of adds to what we're already talking about this week with DFA. If you don't know what DFA is, it's the Digital Flight Authorization that was mentioned by several different panel members during the Homeland Security Committee meeting. I believe it was on Monday in DC. So that meeting was mostly about getting funding for counter drone technology, which needs to get funding anyway. I'm not in opposition to any of the counter drone type of technology that we need to keep our cities safe. That's good. But what they were saying during that committee meeting was that they need to know the difference between a happy little good drone and one that is they're thinking is going to do harm. And the way to determine that is yet to be determined, right? So they don't know a way yet to be able to tell, is this just a cool little hobby drone that someone's flying in a park, or is this some type of terroristic threat? So they have to figure out how to mitigate between that. And I think a big part of that would be knowing who the operator is, right? Because all of you guys already have a profile. They know who you are. They got your social security number. The real ID system's coming out. That's a national ID that everyone's eventually probably going to have. And I don't know if we have a choice for the real ID thing. I don't know if you guys have really been into that yet, but essentially all your information, including like probably your social score or something like that's all crammed into this one real ID. And I don't know a lot of specifics of that yet, but so a lot of this stuff is going digital, and DFA in a sense would be a quicker approval system, because it'll probably likely function on AI or some quicker route to being able to just take off and do your flight. Whereas before, we were relying on sending a message out to the control tower, a person in the middle of their workday seeing that and having to respond to that, and people are having to wait for several hours. And when it first started up, they were having to wait several days before you could do a flight. So that's not going to work out in 2025 with this many drones in the air all over the US. That's not going to work out. So they need something that's faster, and I think that's why they're looking at the digital version. Okay, so right now we have the U.S. Commerce Department opening an investigation into DJI, and it's called Section 232. It is for DJI and Autel. So not only DJI is on sort of the investigation chopping block, it's Autel as well. So I don't know if you fly Autel or not. Now, the big question is, like, will you still be able to fly your DJI drone? Yes, you will be able to. Now, yes, I believe from a U.S. standpoint, but here's the thing about DJI, okay? So DJI last year sort of had a knee-jerk reaction. DJI is in my experiences over the last 11 years in dealing with DJI, I did have a store and I was a dealer at one point, and I've always noticed that they were kind of a reactionary company, okay? So if something happens politically or in the manufacturing scene or disputes between distributors and different things in business, and obviously they're very self-invested, right? So they've been kind of knee-jerk quite a bit, and sometimes harsh, right? And they were kind of harsh on us small tier dealers because the margins kept dropping. And as they were making more money, the guys that helped them get off the ground were making less money. And all of a sudden, Costco had a bunch of DJI drones that everybody at Costco and Walmart and Amazon were calling our store asking for support. And I didn't have the resources available to handle DJI's customer support care. This is in the very early beginnings of DJI. Just kind of give you some backstory on what this company's like to deal with. And some of the dealers won't talk about it, right? Because they're still currently a dealer for DJI, and they're buying, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of DJI. But right now they can't get it. So they're kind of dead in the water right now. They're not able to get these birds in, and that is a big problem for them. And I do feel sorry for people that are kind of late to the game as far as being DJI sellers and distributors before all of this really came down the pipe. It's a sketchy investment these days, where 5-6 years ago it was an easy investment. Like, if you had hundreds of thousands of dollars, you dropped them into, say, agricultural drones or things like that, like, you would probably well be on your way to being a millionaire if you had that money to get that started. Now, this investigation was started on July 1st. So it only became public on July 15th. So as of July 15th, it became public. And right now, I'm going to put a link. We talked about this before. There's a Federal Register that you can log into, and you'll have a 21-day public comment period. So 21 days to put your comment out there before it becomes law. Now, there is about 3 different stages of the way this is going to go down, as I was mentioning before. When it comes out, if DJI is a threat to national security, there are 3 different stages of this. And the 3 different stages are, and this is Section 232, DJI and Autel. Number 1, higher tariffs. So immediately all drone pilots buying DJI gear or DJI 04, 03 air units will be paying a higher tariff than 50%. So it may go up to, who knows? It's whatever the U.S. decides on Autel and DJI. Okay. So number 2 of 3 is the exclusion from the federal procurement, which could they won't be able to use them federally, which is already happening. Number 3 is the potential placement on Federal Communications Commission's covered list, which in that case, they wouldn't be able to file new FCC registrations for new products, and that would basically halt all importations altogether for DJI to the United States. So yeah, there's that. I really wish that I had the chat working on this. I don't know what the hell. I don't know what we should do about not being able to see and answer your questions. Maybe what I can do, if you have questions about this, we could restart and maybe inside the YouTube mobile app. It said that I would be able to do that from the app, from the YouTube app. And I was really hoping Streamlabs would have the chat option up on the screen. But I felt like I've covered this pretty well going into it for you today. So if you're just kind of listening along, like, you have a much better idea right now than you did before this stream started. And this is important stuff to know. This is just another layer to the onion. Like, and it's a huge cantankerous lesion on the backside of the drone industry. Now, people are talking about, no gain without pain, right? So, as Trump mentioned before with the stock market, during the first part of the tariffs, the stock market was just like dumping, and then it would rise, and then it would dump, and then it would rise, and then he was mentioning that there would be some pain, right? And I think that's kind of what we can expect with what's coming, right? So, I want to be super realistic with you guys. I want to be that friend of yours that's like, hey man, like, your girl's cheating on you. I know you don't want to believe it, but you need to know, and you need to start taking action on that and start thinking about that. You need to start preparing yourself to what you're going to do next, right? Like, if years past in my relationships, I would get a little personal about this. Years past in my relationships, and I'm referring this to the DJI situations because it's been like a relationship with them for the past 10, 11 years for me. So I'm preparing myself for this, right? And what I'm going to do next as far as my FPV systems, flight controllers, drones, everything. When I was in a relationship and I would see something like this coming, I mean, early on, I remember in college being like, oh my God, I had already taken my like shampoo out of the shower and like was putting it somewhere to go to my new apartment, or I was already out somewhere like Target buying new silverware for my bachelor pad coming up and buying like new furniture and shit. Like, I was like preparing myself, getting into a new sport or something like that, starting to run, or like some guys like lift weights. There's just a bunch of things you can do to mentally prepare yourself so that when you do step off the edge of the cliff, that you're not like falling to your death, that you're spreading your wings and freaking just you're keeping on, and not just keeping on, but thriving and doing better than you were before. So that's what we want to do is, we want to respond to this constructively and then try to like just move on and be better than we were before. And how in the hell we're going to do that past what DJI has offered us, I'm not really super sure. Maybe DJI is that girlfriend that you had in the past that you just never quite got over. Because I don't know that Skydio is going to jump up and like be like the hot new blonde that that makes you forget about your past girlfriend. So Alltel's not going to do it either because they're on the ban list as well. So DJI has responded recently as well to the Department of Commerce, and they have responded by saying that we encourage the Department of Commerce to carefully consider the substantial impact that any disruptions to the current supply chain would have on American small businesses, public safety agencies, and broader drone industry, which is gigantic, we all know, including hobbyists. And DJI drones have been subject to tariffs since 2017, which is true. And any additional costs could place significant burdens on small businesses, could hinder growth of American drone industry, and disrupt the U.S. drone ecosystem that we've continually supported. U.S. drone industry includes not just manufacturers, but also service providers, software developers, commercial operators, and many of whom who rely on DJI products. These products generate more than $116 billion in economic activity across the country and support over 450,000 American jobs. So that's quite a bold statement. It is essential to recognize the critical role that DJI plays in fostering innovation, saving lives, and supporting the livelihoods of countless individuals across America. We believe that a thoughtful and balanced approach is necessary to ensure continued growth of the U.S. drone industry. So DJI has been very proactive in trying to be transparent with the federal government, and they're quick to respond. That's pretty quick that they've already responded. So the drone investigation is currently the federal strategy that DJI is insisting that they are completely complying with. So Section 232, the government says, is not a standalone move, but a part of the sweeping U.S. strategy to regain airspace sovereignty and boost domestic drone manufacturing. And that's kind of the big picture of what's happening here. We're trying to essentially light the gas on the American drone industry here, manufacturing at home. And it's a hell of a way to ignite that burner, right? And sometimes when you ignite that burner, you have to have people hungry and people in need in that situation. So this is definitely making people really pay attention and try to figure out what's next for their businesses. I mean, a lot of these DJI distributors and dealers are really large, massive companies that move a lot of commerce for America. And this is not like something that people just started doing, selling like Chinese goods. Like all of a sudden it's like bad to sell Chinese goods because this shirt was made in China, this hat, even though it's probably Black. I wonder if these Black Rifle Coffee hats are made in the USA. Do you guys know about that? Put that in the chat, or make a comment on this video. Because I hate to say it's from China, and then these dudes are like, "No, man, our freaking shit's made in America." So this goes on quite a bit further. There is an executive order 14307. I'm gonna try to restart the stream. We were having some problems because I did get a phone call come through. So hang on just 1 second, and I will be right